Hi, I'm Robert Coffie, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrews. He's doing a great job. You all have to listen to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. That's right, you're watching the one and only Keith Andrew Network. Today, it's episode 605. I'm here with professional actor Robert Coffie, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No, the honor's all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's to prove to them you still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, 30 minutes of your time, you can say anything you want, talk about anything you want. But the very first thing I do want to talk to you about is I noticed that you are a CEO of your own company. What can you tell us about that, and who influenced you to start your own company?
Oh, wow. That happened about 15 years ago. And I've been doing magic ever since I was 8 years old, and I'm apprenticed to famous Harry Blackstone JR. And which he didn't live too far from here, and in Redlands, California. And so I grew up learning, a lot about magic and performing on stage, and and I went all over Southern California, Arizona, and Nevada, and I ended up in Nevada and did some work at the small stage at MGM Grand, and on the little shows, and I wanted to learn more about magic, so I got more into magic and film. So it led me to be in the film industry, and so I went toward that area, and I was already experienced of being on stage, and so I came back to California and did some local community college classes, and I got into cinematography, motion picture and film, became my minor, and then years later, probably about in 2010 was the time that I actually ended up starting this RCP film studio to take place, Robert Coffie Film Studio production. So that's how it pretty much started, and I've been very successful. And knowing the people in the movie industry, and gathering and networking, I've actually got it together using friends, networking, and so forth. So I got it all pretty much started from there. I did a film called On the Edge in 2010, and it was my first time. A lot of things I had to still learn, but I got me a camera and started filming, put a music video together, and it's a skateboard movie called On the Edge in 2010, and that's pretty much what started RCP Film Studios. And I had a lot of producers and directors that were on my list, including Steve Rebus. He was the actor from The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. He played the Indian. He in the mess hall when he hit Adam Sandler in the head with the tray, and during the middle of that movie, and a lot of other ones like Dances with Wolves he's been in. So he wanted to he's Native American, and so am I, and so I pretty much wanted to get the Native Americans involved with what I was trying to do, and that's another story if you want me to continue. I
No,
mean,
I love the Native Americans. It's really shitty what happened to them.
oh yes, I know a lot about my background. I'm Yaqui, Yaqui, and that's in Tucson, Arizona, and that's the Pascua Reservation. And I do speak a little bit of my own native tongue, and so yeah, it's really nice to be a part of it and to remember your culture.
No, absolutely. The next question I was going to ask you is when you mentioned that you met and you networked with a couple people. So that brings up the next subject I'm going to ask you, social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplished in your life? Did Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever the hell it is, did all those influence you get in acting roles, or was it the key factor that you knew certain people?
It was a little of both. It was knowing who to talk to in the industry, and you do have. I ran into a few that were, if you they notice if you have a talent or they like you in this industry. It's like a cutthroat industry, so it's pretty much you do what you got to do to get in. As far as uh, you know, I, a person that has some talent, and they have maybe a disability. They see that it's pretty much a big, huge family. They pretty much go and help you with whatever you want to pursue in the film industry. And so yeah, I understand that it's both. It's both what you know and who you know. It's still like that today.
No, absolutely. You mentioned another thing I want to touch on. People with disabilities. For,
Uh-huh.
because I have the heart and passion to do this, so I want to do this until the day I die. I want to
Uh-huh.
become like an A-lister, a B-lister. I want people to run up to me, take pictures, ask for my autograph. I like making new friends and everything. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, you don't. Sometimes that gets out of hand,
It's true.
when you're in your own business and you're with your family and you just want to have that family time and be, do your thing. It gets kind of annoying because you don't know who's watching you. It's okay because you're part of the public, but you do have to have some alone time with your family. So when they run up to you or you're just minding your own business and they come and snap your picture and you're like, wait a minute, give me a little bit of space.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that. So it does get kind of irritating at times, but running up to me, I'm glad I don't have that big problem, but I do when I go to LA and I do go to events. They know that I'm there. They will come up and talk to me and ask me questions, do interviews, and so forth. And that's the way it goes.
No, I agree to 100%. And I give you an example. There's this video of John Cena when he probably saw it. He went to England and this guy ran up to him and started recording. And Cena's like, well, all you had to do was, hey, you mind if we took a picture? Or, hey, you mind, is it okay if we do a video? Instead, the guy was an asshole about it. And he started videotape. And when Cena started to walk away, he's like, yo, man, let me give you some advice. And Cena threw back. It's like, no, let me give you some advice. Be respectful. And
Right.
that's what I was going to say. Yes, I do want to be famous and be in the spotlight. But as long as that person is very respectful, I will
Right.
give them my full attention. If they're an asshole, I'd be like, you know what? Where's security? I don't have time for this.
Well, that's what interviews and red carpets are for. When you
Yeah.
go to a red carpet, they snap your picture. I mean, you're in the public's eye. When you step foot on that carpet, everybody is allowed to take your picture. I mean, 'cause that's you're in the public's eye. You're part of the public. You're an entertainer, and that's what you got into the business for. So so when you step on the carpet, give yourself to the public. Let them know any questions they may have, and do your little interviews. And then when you step off the carpet and you're on your alone time, then that's it.
No, I agree. But was the John Cena one? He was in a store. So I mean, if you're out in the public, yes, you expect the unexpected, but be at least considerate and be respectful. If you say you were in a store, I would have walked up to you and introduced myself and say, hey, "Can I have like 2 minutes of your time?" You don't just randomly whip it out and then start videotaping.
If you would do that to me, then I would say, yeah. If I'm not too busy or need to go somewhere, then yeah, I'd take a couple minutes. And they do that a lot on TMZ on 10 Minute Zone. They do that. They'll ask before they do the interview. And
just be respectful, be well considerate.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's just playing it the nice way, because you're not going to get anywhere.
No, absolutely. My next question I was going to ask you, we're going back to the disability. It's saying, like I said, this is what I want to do until I die, become an A-lister, B-lister, become famous, have people walk up to me and everything, because I have the heart and passion for this. But the thing I was going to ask you is because I have a hard time reading. And say, I give me a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Here's a script. Okay, just a piece of paper. But here's a script. You say, here, go read it. For me, I read and learn at a middle school level. So you have to sit with me and learn. Eventually, I'm going to get it because I have the heart and passion for it. But do you think that the entertainment business, I know I've watched it all my life and I watched wrestling. We're just spokes on a wheel. If you can't cut it anymore, to be happy to kick you to the side and get somebody else. But the thing is, how do you feel and what have you seen of the disability community being treated a little more considerately?
That's a good question.
For an example, if I approached a filmmaker like yourself and said, I have a show, would you give me the time and day to explain myself, or would you be like, what do you have to show for it?
Yes, I would give you the time of day. It doesn't matter if you have a disability or not. I've seen some people that I've met that do have disabilities that are extremely brilliant when it comes to creating. They're just that lost in that part of their brain where they can create stuff that a lot of us overlook, that a lot of people that are considered normal is not that they overlook. So yes, I would give it the time of day, but also I had a disability, and before I started into the film industry, I was 8 years old, and I could not read very well at all. I just hated it. It just made no sense to me, and that's what got me into magic. When I got into magic, I started learning how to read like almost overnight, and that magic and entertainment, that's the part of the entertainment world, and I learned how to do that, and I was accepted anyway. I fumbled, a few times on, big words or whatever, but I still learned. And it took me a while, but people weren't looking at me like that. They were looking at the talent that I had. So then when I got into the film industry, I didn't really have too many, or any at all disabilities, except for that when I was young. But I still started that way, when I was young.
No, I agree with you. Now, the next one I was going to ask you, because you mentioned you were a professional actor, who influenced you to become a professional actor And how many years have you been acting?
I've been acting almost 15 years, and Harry Blackstone Jr., like I said, magic and being on stage and performing in front of an audience is like acting. It's the same as being an actor, because you're performing, you're acting. As being a magician, you're always pretending to be this wizard, and so it goes hand in hand. And so Harry Blackstone Jr. was my influence and got me to pretty much where I am today. And my other influence would be Steve Rivas, the actor. And that's pretty much it. And there's a few others maybe, but those are the two most influenced in my life.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, what was your very first role that you ever had? Said, you know what, this is something I want to do for the rest of my life.
Six Guns. It was the movie Six Guns, and God, I can't remember who all was in that movie. That was quite a long time ago. But oh gosh, that was. I had. They took one role from me. I was in the bar. I had some scenes. It was a western, and then they filmed it, but they I guess the director decided he wasn't going to use that piece, and he found out that because I was hovering around the camera more often than just being, because I was more curious about how things were working on 16 millimeter, because at the time I was still going to college and I was still learning cinematography, and which is a DP, director of photography, and he had a 16 millimeter film camera, and I wanted to learn more about what they were doing on hand than I would learn in school. So that's, what was the question?
No, I'm the same way. For me, you can't just throw something at me and expect me to learn. For me, I have to sit there, play with it, and that's how I learn. I learn more hands-on.
Well, actually, I ended up, as I told you, I was in the bar and I did have a couple scenes, but the director, Joffie was his name, Joffie, and almost spelt like mine. And I got along really good with him, and I told him that I was going to college for motion picture and film, and we were talking, and he said, "Well, you mind helping me shoot something?" And I was like, "Wow, okay." And so we set up the 16 millimeter film. I changed the film and in the tent, and loaded the camera and checked the gate and everything, and did all the measurements, and we filmed that scene, the sunrise, and one of the scenes, I can't remember her name, Sarah Egger, I believe her name was. We did a shooting scene. The camera was doing a bird's eye view down on the ground, and that was a shot to the head, and blood was coming out, but I actually helped film that and set the camera up. So that was my first experience of being on a real film set.
Now, my other question for you is, what is your advice for people out there with disabilities who want to break into the entertainment world?
Don't stop. Just follow your heart and don't give up, and follow your dream, because it's really hard to see that a person with a disability that's here and a person that's already made it and as a star and a celebrity here, you can't see that far away, that you think it's farther away, but really in reality it's just within a reach. It's that close to you. You just have to, everybody has a star, you just grab the one that's yours, that belongs to you.
No, I agree with you. Now, the next question I was going to ask you would seem looking for something good. Going back to the very beginning, you mentioned Six Guns was the very first thing you ever did. But what was a moment where flipped the switch? It's before Six Guns. What was that one moment where you just sitting around doing absolutely nothing and say, you know what? Because a lot of people have this where they're just sitting around with twiddling their thumbs saying, I don't know what to do with my life. What was that one instant that the person or something on TV popped on and said, you know what? That's my inspiration, and that's what led to Six Guns. What was like that?
I will answer that with me being in Las Vegas when I decided that my magic, and I wanted something more from my magic and being on stage and performing for everyone. I wanted something more. I wanted more of a wow and a woo. So it just came to me. One day I was watching TV and it was a commercial, Burger King commercial, and the fries were floating along the counter and the soda was moving. And I was like, and that time, about 15, almost 20 years ago, we didn't have a lot of CG. We did a lot of camera tricks. And I know, being a magician, I know that wasn't any kind of real CG or it wasn't moving. So I said, that's what I wanted to do. Later on, I found out that the guy that was creating that helped create that was Tony Hosseini, and he was a magician. And what he did is for that commercial, they hired him to make the fries and the hamburger and the soda float along the counter and move on everything. And I said, that's what I wanted to do. I want to get into the film industry and learn special effects. So when I came back to California, did community college and learned, I was trying to learn a little bit about special effects, but I'm not the type of person to sit behind a desk and learn on the computer for hours and hours and move things, and because that's not what I want to do. I wanted to do the magic in front. But then you got to remember, at the time we were transitioning over to digital, from film to digital. So and software was coming out. There's a bunch of different softwares to make things happen, and so my job as a magician and making things move in front of camera wasn't to people didn't quite want that at that time. We're experiencing something new, so
people don't like change.
Yeah, well, yes. A lot of photographers that I've known had a problem with going from film into digital, but you could never recreate the film look quality that film has, and that digital doesn't. And so you just have to see it and know about film to see that it's not going to always be the same. Will never be the same. But that's how I got started, because of Tony Hosseini. He actually gave me that little incentive, that push to say, hey, there's something different. And I've always wanted to be magic and performing. I like performing for children. I love children. So performing magic all the time, that's my heart. If I can do it all the time, I would do that all the time. But and I still do from time to time. I'm a little rusty nowadays, but I still do some here and there.
All right. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And with the last remaining time, I'm going to pass it over to you, and you can ask me anything you like.
Hi, I'm Taylor Kilgore.
Hello, I'm actress-producer Sandra Justice.
Oh, I'm Sakina.
Hey, I'm Allison Steele.
Hi, I'm Laura Saltman.
Hi, I'm Annika Skiva.
Hi, I'm Bailey Heesh.
Hi, I'm Marissa Joy Davis.
This is Michelle Wong.
And I'm Nancy Rose.
My name is Brandy Hunt. And
hello, my name is Raven Wynn.
Hi there, my name is Giovanna Vidal.
Hi, I'm Monica Thomas.
Hi, I'm Paisley Blackburn.
I'm Ashley Burgess.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Abney.
Hi, I'm Sharon Spank.
Hey, this is Samantha Moore.
Hi, I'm Melody Jones.
Hi, my name is Becky Yee.
Hi, you're watching the Keith Andrew Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Keith Andrew Network. I am your host, Keith Andrew, Season 7, Episode 605. I'm here with Robert Coffie. What's the last 6 minutes and counting? I'm going to pass the show over to you. And for people who want to know what the hell does that even mean, the reason for I do the shows is to work on my social skills, and this is a passion of mine, and this is what I want to do until the day I die. And plus, you're doing the interview, you're making a new friend out of it. So it's a win-win. So I get something out of it, you get something out of it, so both people are happy. But with that being said, you can ask me anything you want, gloves off, I have nothing to hide. And what's the last 5 minutes and counting? This is your time.
My time. So what would be your disabilities?
Pretty much unlike you, only I learn at a slower pace, and because of that, I'm on the spectrum of being retarded.
Well, that's kind of a harsh word, but I mean, so you have disability on reading, arithmetic, any of the
reading and learning, yes.
Okay, but you're doing this show. That is where your mind is opened up to possibilities and creating. See, that's what I mean about people in this industry. There is a lot in this industry that do have disabilities, and anybody out there that does have disabilities, don't give up. Just do what you feel, and strive toward that. But back to what I was saying, there's people like that out there that have that disability, that are very creative. They might not be creative in a book as far as math or reading or spelling or anything like that, or history. But when it comes to creating an art, and this is what the film industry is, it's all about creating images and art and putting a story together. You're a great storyteller, like right now on this show. I mean, you can do anything. I mean, I've noticed that people that have disabilities have very creative minds. So
no, I agree with you. And there's a guy from Hawaii Five-0 who does Steve McGarrett. He has a disability, but he's a great actor.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, look at Robert Downey Jr. He was going to commit suicide because he suffered from depression. But he's a huge influence and an inspirational person for people out there that suffer from depression. You know, look past all the negative stuff that you have to do to get over, and look at all the great things you can accomplish. But unfortunately, there's some people that just lets them overtake them. Unfortunately, you know, I had a good friend, a good acquaintance of anyway, Ashley Mazzaro, and she took her life, and you know, and that really hit me because you know she had everything. And you look at Robin Williams, he a fantastic actor, legend. You know, everyone knew exactly who he was, but he had that disease, and he just didn't want to live with it. You know, and then you look at Christopher Reeves. You know, Christopher Reeves actually thought about committing suicide, but he had his wife with him, and they said, we're going to get through this together. So what the point I'm trying to make is whatever roadblocks that you have, you can break through it as long as you have a strong emotional support.
Well, I have some real strong support from my girlfriend and my mother and my father and a few members of the family. But my girlfriend gives me a lot of support. I had some real big downfalls, and a lot of you out there may know or look me up and seen some of my past and stuff. But I had a very bad relationship in the past, and so which was my ex-fiance. She was involved with a lot of drugs and accused me of rape, and it was very bad relationship. I tried to help, and she wrote down letters and said that she was trying to destroy me, and I have all that, but it wasn't enough. I actually went through trials of that and went to jail, and that was something that was really hard for me because I've already started the film industry. I was already establishing myself, and I was climbing to the top very fast. And it's like I got hit and with this huge mountain of troubles and problems, and I couldn't get back up. I couldn't see where I was going, and I continued to be in that relationship, and I tried to work things out, and I didn't succeed, and it ended up getting me into a lot of problems, and so I being accused of so many things and going into the industry was.
No, absolutely. Go ahead. I give you the last 2 minutes.
Okay. And so, and that's what really hurt. And to overcome that big mountain of issues that I've had, I didn't let nothing stop me. I continued to thrive and push to what I really love to do in the film industry. And so a lot of people know that I'm an innocent guy that just got caught up in the wrong situations. And my message for everyone out there is, don't give up. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. You just do it. Just reach up and grab a star that belongs to you, because it ain't that far. That's my message pretty much.
No, absolutely. Now stay tuned. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, my last 2 questions for you is, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Stage 32, Facebook, YouTube? And when I first... Oh, go ahead.
I have all those. I'm on, you can Google my name and see that there's Instagram, there's that's Robert Coffie 2 on Instagram, and then it's Actor Robert Coffie on Twitter, and it's I think it's over 10,000 or some odd followers on LinkedIn. That's part of the business that I have over there, and all the rest of the social media that's out there, except for Facebook. I pretty much don't. I don't have Facebook much anymore. It's just I let that go. But I let people know. I have other social media that they can see what I'm doing, what movies I'm working on. They could also go to IMDb and check me there. And I'm always they're always posting stuff. I always have a new picture, so you can see what I'm doing.
No, absolutely. Now, my last question for you is, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first honest opinion, and what made you say yes?
What's my first honest opinion?
Yeah, when you first got it, what was it like?
When I first got into...
No, when I first sent you the message and you first read it, what was your first honest opinion of the message, and what made you say yes?
Oh, you didn't make it too long of a question to ask me. You just came right out, asked, and that was it. You know, when in the film industry and in this business, we're a lot of times we're jam-packed with a lot of things to either read and we get tired. So if you make it simple, keep it simple, and you did, and then you basically said it was for people with disabilities. Then that right away, it was how you worded it, and that's what caught my attention really fast.
And how do you feel now, and what do you recommend it for other people?
How much time do I have? I recommend by a part of what I said about not giving up, use social media, because that's what makes and how everybody is communicating between each other around in this world. It's not flyers. It's not. It's networking, going to the functions, and hanging around and talking to people, being on social network, and posting your talents on there as much as you can. And it's because you will, like me, from time to time I go on LinkedIn or any other Instagrammer, and I see somebody who has talent. I'm like, wow, why aren't these people doing something with that? And it's hard to believe that. And then some people are like, no, I just do it because of this or that. But actually, they should really push forward and do something with that. So that's pretty much it. Use your social media, because that's what makes this world and turn around and focus on different things. It's just that's communication at this time, and this time of the world, so social media, yeah, and like I said, post things like videos, post pictures. If that's your talent, post it, and somebody out there will see. And then don't give up there. Just use that and say, yeah. If somebody comes to ask you, oh yeah, I seen that you do this and you do that. They write you a letter, and then go to these casting websites and post your stuff there. They're looking for people like that.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
No, I know Skype can interfere. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Okay, yes, thank you very much for having me.